again for tuning into Hot Facts. This is episode number 9, believe it or not. And we're talking about what does real estate investing mean to you? Specifically, what we want to talk about is how it's affected our lives personally as individuals, right, in this market, how we've been able to help some of our customers. And we want to dive in just a little bit about all the great things that real estate has done for us, you know, just as professionals, as individuals, right? And what we can do to help our clients also take advantage of all these products,
Yes.
programs, the current market that's going on right now, what type of investment that's available for you, right? And you know, one of the luxuries that Chris and I have is that we're licensed in all 50 states, right? So all 50 states have a capacity to help us with this program. Where it benefits us also as real estate professionals is that there are other markets, right, that are a lot more expensive than our market, right? So we have a nice little reach where we can tell an investor, hey, those same $500,000 you're going to invest in California, you can buy a 5-unit building here.
Yeah.
Right. With that being said, I want to introduce my host, Christian Castillo, Angel Carlos, with the Hot Facts. Guys, let's talk a little bit about what real estate investing means to us. Brother Angel, kick us off.
Well, it's investing, man. There's a lot of ways you could take about it, I guess. But to me, it's more like how you can use it to leverage your kind of like your lifestyle in a way. Specifically, like, I mean, the story that I could use, like in my example, would be just helping my parents, man. Just like I mentioned earlier, how they actually purchased the property in 2005, but then later foreclosed in 2010 during the recession, like during the height of the recession. So during that time, it was like, you know, I was seeing it as a kid, but it was rough. But at the same time, I didn't understand like what did my parents get into, right? So, but to me, it was more like, what is investing, right? Like, were they purchasing it as like how do you say this asset? Were they purchasing it as a liability, or what do you mean, like something that can make them passive income as an asset, or what was it to them and stuff? And I think even in our culture and stuff, it was kind of like investing wasn't really talked about, especially during that time. I mean, I was never talked about that during as a kid. Right. And to me, it was more like, oh, like, you know, stay away from these people who want to sell homes, and like, you know, these mortgage lenders, like, no, chinga tu dinero. You know, all those sayings, bro, in our culture, there's like this stigma. And to me, like, investing, man, it's like, I didn't really, like, it wasn't brought to my attention or to my light maybe until I was getting my real estate license. I got exposed to that knowledge. And it's crazy because in the previous episode you mentioned the deconversion. I haven't heard that since that course, man. So it's like, it's crazy that you mentioned that. Like how many lenders are there here, bro? So it's like, you mentioned deconversion, that you have that leverage. So I'm saying it's like having that source in a way to really spread the word to you is really important. Because I mean, just hearing that, it's like, bro, imagine like you hear that type of knowledge like back then, and hearing it now, it's gonna help even more, because now that I am like a realtor, a real estate professional, I'm able to like use that and apply that to like future clients that are interested in that stuff. So to me, it does mean a lot. It means more of exposure of knowledge more than anything, being exposed to the right people. I think it's more than anything, because then from there, it's just opportunities. Like, are you going to take it or not? So just based off like the experience with my family, it was more like, you know, they purchased it more like a liability. They weren't really educated on the process and stuff, and then foreclosed, right? Regardless, it happened. But to me, then 10 years later, to be able to help them purchase a property, and, you know, in the same neighborhood, in the same subdivision. So to me, it was just like a full circle, like, you know, full story and stuff. And the completion of that, like, that was like a chip off my shoulder that I really wanted to get something like in, I don't know, not in return, but really more of like, you know, I want to accomplish something like that. And to me, it's like seeing it as a kid and then being a professional, walking my parents like through it and stuff. And, you know, have a full circle now. It's like, you know, they have a roof. And now this year we were talking about like my dad investing in a multi-unit and stuff. So to me, it's more like, wow, now it hasn't even been 24 months yet, like 2 years. And now we're talking about investing in multi-units. Like, that's freaking crazy. So to me, it's just a full circle of things that once you do have or exposed to that right knowledge and education, you're able to really use it and take it, like I said. So,
well, if your parents need a lender, right?
I know a guy, bro.
You got somebody, right?
I know someone, bro.
And then that's such an important component of it, because in real estate, it's a family-driven type of thing.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that's involved into it. So the fact that you were able to do that for your family and then walk them through that process so they avoid the foreclosure part again. Oh, that's just a testament to your professionalism and what you want to do, man. So congratulations to you. Shout out to the Carlos family for their house, man. We want to keep helping more folks like them get into their properties. Brother Chris, so for you, right, one of the funny things that, you know, we talk about is when you first started in the business, you were doing social media already without having too much knowledge of the business, right?
Right.
So now, what did real estate mean to you then, right? Without the knowledge, right? And now what does real estate mean to you 3 years later, being immersed in this from 9 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night with me, traveling across the country, doing home buyer seminars, doing buyer consultations, getting closings under your belt? How much has that paradigm shifted?
So I started my real estate career, funny, out of a video I saw 1 a.m., just trying to see like, man, what else is there to do? Well, how can I invest my money? How can I be successful? Because before that, I heard a term. A lot of people, and it's been thrown a lot around there in the social media world, of passive income.
Yes.
Passive income. Everyone has been looking for passive income.
That's a hot topic right now.
Exactly. Everyone wants to get paid for not doing anything, right?
For existing.
right?
I want to be paid for existing.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, man, I got told that, and I'm like, man, let's see, well, how can I get that? How can I get that, without having it to be a myth, right?
Yeah.
And the closest thing that I can come to was real estate, because I found that video and it said that this guy owned multiple properties and made $1 million every year. Every year, every day.
Oh no.
From rental income. And I'm like,
how many days are in
exactly.
a year?
That's when I was like, $1 million a day. How much is that in a year?
Yeah.
It's $365 million. And I was like, whoa. If this guy can do that at $365 million, I can do a quarter of that.
Yeah.
I can do a percent of that, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right? So that's when I was like, real estate investing is a vehicle.
Yeah.
More than anything, right?
Well said, sir.
And from when I started, right, to where I'm at now, it's just more of a conviction that it's 100% true, because now I've actually helped people do it.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts that I can't make it work, because I help people do it now. Cool. So now it's just more of a concrete evidence that it can get you wherever you want to go. Because at the end of the day, for me, I don't plan on myself just being a 9 to 10 all day, every day working, right? Like at the end of the day, I want to have my own life as well. Yes. And I'm a musician outside of this, and I want to be able to go to Mexico and play my music without having to worry about anything. And the only way that that's going to happen is if I set myself up, I set my real estate portfolio up, so that way I don't have to think about income. And that's I can do what I want to do that makes me happy.
Yeah, I think that what a powerful story.
Yeah, that was spot on, bro.
That's amazing, right? Like, and you look at those things of how much your perspective has changed, because I remember, there's like certain conversations that you and I would have about the things that you wanted to do once you got to a certain place, right? And now you can see those things starting to come true, right? And it goes into the commitment that we've talked about from all the other episodes, right?
Yes.
The dedication that you put into this business, right? You're a professional, and it requires all of your attention. You just following what the next person's doing on TikTok or whatever, it's not going to work. You have to crack open those guidelines. You have to see what's going on with FHA. You have to see what's going on with HUD. You have to see all these new things that are coming out so that you are immersed in this business. Think about it like this, right? This is a visual that I can give you guys. Everyone knows the NBA, right? So perceive that everyone who's playing in the NBA is the best. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made it to the NBA.
Yeah.
What sets those people apart? They all have like that same the best, right? Because they wouldn't have made it to that level. What sets them apart is their work ethic. What sets them apart is their dedication.
Yes.
What sets them apart is how many times they show up in the gym to shoot those jumpers over and over again, with a hand in their face, without a hand in their face, falling back, falling forward, switching to another hand. And that's what this business requires. It requires your mastery of this type of industry. It's not a passive role that you do here. This isn't something that you do passively. It's a full contact sport, and it requires your participation, right? So knowing those things now that we do with real estate, I'll tell you guys what real estate means to me, right? Real estate means to me the ability to make decisions without fear, right?
Yeah.
If you are able to invest in real estate the right way, it gives you that stability that most people are looking for, right? That trigger word of passive income. This is still requires your participation, but it is a lot less tedious for you to have to do, right? And that guy who's making $365 million a year, he's not a rocket science. He didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't cure cancer, nor has he done anything that has been that innovative to the world, but he is valued because he realized that there is a demand for something, and he capitalized on it, right? That's all the opportunities that we have as well, right? So now if we can mirror some of the people that have had success in real estate, you can pick out the things that they've done and scale it to how you want to do it, right?
So true.
Like I was mentioning that we have the capacity to lend in all 50 states. That opens us up for other investors to come from across the country, right? And that gives us a big opportunity that I don't think that most places have, right? Because they're limited to the area that they're in. So definitely you can count on us, right? For any of your financing needs, and Angel's here to help you with the real estate stuff that we need, right? But these are the type of things that we're looking forward to with clients. And, I'm going to pose a question to everybody. Make sure you leave it in the comments. What does real estate mean to you, right? How has it impacted your life? Or if it hasn't, right, how can it impact your life, right? Think about the goals that you want to set for your life. Think about the stability that you want, right? In these aspects of it, right? We can help you navigate through that process, right?
Yeah.
So now there's a part of it that I want to talk to you guys about with the real estate investing side of it, right? And there's a quote from FDR that says, right, investing in houses is one of the safest investments that you can make when applied and managed correctly, right? And that's what we're talking about in this component of it, that it's not just good enough to buy the house. And I think that's a mistake that most people make. You buy a house, that doesn't mean that you can afford it. That just means that you were able to purchase it.
Yeah.
Now you have to be able to maintain it. If you want that top of the market value when you sell it, you can't have a dirty bathtub. I'm sorry. You can't have a fence falling down. That's not going to work, right? If there are new houses going up in your neighborhood, that's not the barometer for you to measure. That's what's coming to your area, but that doesn't mean that that's what you're going to get. And a lot of times people make the mistake where they say, well, I'm going to put $250,000 into my house and now it's going to be worth $650,000. It's not how it goes, man.
It's like those little things that you really have to like talk to your professional about, because like I mentioned earlier in the previous episodes, where it's like the exterior stuff, what's coming to your neighborhood. It's very important. And it's not just the bathtub that's going to add an addition to your property, it's the external parts as well. So external parts of your neighborhood and your area. So things to like take into consideration.
And then Chris could touch on a topic. Specifically, the reason that I brought the bathtub up was because we had a client who recently ran into an issue where they wouldn't give us the value of the property. Our agent provided a whole bunch of comparables, top of the market, but then the appraiser turned around and said, right, this may not be a brand new home, right? And the bathtub may be functional, but no one's going to want to take a bath in there. And in this one situation, in multiple situations like this, the negligence of your property will affect the value of it, right?
Yes.
You cannot compare the best of the best in the market just because 10 homes like that sold in your area. What you need to understand is that appraisers use aggregators and adjusters, right? If your square footage is less, if your house isn't as updated, right? If you don't have a brand new roof, if there's things that are wrong with your home, you will not be able to get that same top market value that someone who built a brand new house is. So don't measure yourself like that, because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. On the contrary, right? Pick things that your property might need. Instead of you trying to eat the whole thing at once, take a pause, right? And say, what can I assess that I think would benefit me the most? And most people think cosmetic stuff, right? Because they want to show off. No. How about double insulate your house so you save money on the electricity bill?
Right.
That's a better thing.
Efficiency, man.
Right?
It's so detailed.
Right?
You're right.
How about windows? How about new windows that are, that double pane with the argon gas that's going to keep you insulated, right? Those are things that you can look at that do two things. One, it makes it better where you're going to live.
Right.
Yep.
And two, right? It's going to increase the value of your home.
Correct.
Right? And you don't have to put stained glass windows with diamond cut, whatever it is, right? Just so that you can try to push that value, because unfortunately it's not going to work.
It's crazy you bring that up, like, because like we were talking about major components these past couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
Where like, had maybe I was saying back to like my parents' story as well. This property is like they purchased it at 160, right? 160, and now it's like valued. And I actually saw this on the market recently.
Wow.
Just under contract is 265 now. The property right next door. So then like we were able to purchase it for 160, and think of it, it was 169 at the time listed. Literally the day we were gonna make an offer. To me, it was more like my parents were interested in that one because I saw the major components. Everything was functioning. Might not have the best aesthetics. The floors, yeah, it's like, really cheap siding and stuff. But to me, it was more like, dude, you just
Peel it off.
like the laminate, you could just peel it off and stuff. So it didn't really bother me. And then other than that, just little cosmetic stuff. Paint the walls.
Yep.
You don't like them blue or you don't like them red, well, change the color. Paint them white. Paint them beige. There's options there. I think we put too much value in the stuff that isn't really the
Stuff
real
that you
value
can
of the
see.
property. Yeah.
Nice.
Like to me, it's more like because of a room is blue. It's like, to me, it's not valuable. It's like, dude, just because it's blue, it doesn't mean anything, you paint it and you paint it maybe like to the color palette that's trending right now, you're going to increase the value dramatically, and also new appliances and stuff. Also, you know, you make sure the major components are working, plumbing, you know, you make sure your installation is right. In this instance, it was like the HOA takes care of a lot of the exterior. So we're saving a lot of the things that maybe like a typical homeowner isn't really gonna, like, how do you say, have to maintain, or like they have to maintain, right? But like in this case, we don't, because the HOA, you have to really be careful where you go into as well, because certain subdivisions will save the cost, or they also regress the cost too. In such HOA stories, right, where like it might affect the value. But in this case, you know, they're up 100K, almost 100K, 105K in equity.
And you think about, right, like, where does that come from? Where does that mentality come that you put so much value on the color of an interior wall? Where does that come from? It's because they're renters. So they don't think that they're going to be able to paint that house, because the last 10 years of their life, they have to ask someone to do that. So they don't have that forward thinking of that I can do whatever I want because it's mine. Si quiero ponerlas de folclórico, de rojo, amarillo, lo que sea, se me hinchan los huevos, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's because it's your house.
Yep.
So now change the mentality. In your house, you can do what you want, right? In a renter, in an apartment, yeah, you have to run it by the landlord. So now for you, you got to take that lens off of a renter, put the lens on as an owner, and realize that you have the capacity to do whatever you want inside your home, right?
Yeah.
These are the important things about it. And I think, you know, to transition into this topic, a lot of it has to do with a younger generation that doesn't understand this, right? Because lack of education. And then you have an older generation that doesn't know how to do this because they've been indoctrinated into the system for so long.
Yes,
right?
It's so true. I think it's something as well we educate. Well, me as a real estate professional, like in the real real estate agent, to me it's more like we always had to tell this to our buyers sometimes too, because maybe they might not actually be ready to purchase a property. And I had that with a buyer experience before as well. Some of the buyers I was helping with, they went to middle school with me, but we had not been in contact for 8-something years. And after that, like, you know, we had to sit down and really talk about like what are their actual needs and necessities, and if they're actually ready, not just to purchase, they're qualified, they're approved, but are they actually ready to take over the responsibilities of being a homeowner and all the requirements that comes with the maintaining of the property and stuff, and actually just making sure to focus on the things that, and if you are looking for a return, at the end of the day, like a return of investment from your investment, I believe that you just have to keep track of what's actually valuable out there. Like, you know, you're not going to think that your bathtub is going to increase the property by 50K. It's like really be realistic and, you know, just maintain your foundation, maintain your plumbing, maintain your, like, you know, the exterior of the property, the roof, maintain the lifespan of those things, and you're really going to see value increase. Or at least even if it's your forever home, you're going to be living, and your living experience is going to be freaking amazing. So at the end of the day, you win-win if you are with the, like I said, educated on the right things. So.
And what it goes into is like what you're willing to sacrifice, right, Chris? Right?
Yeah,
one of the things that, like, I can tell you with like sacrifice, a lot of people think that it has to be something like that you have to die on this hill for it, right? That's where it stands. But the reality about sacrifice is willing to make small incremental adjustments so that you can get what you want in the future, right? So when you think about people who are making the sacrifice to purchase a home, what does that mean for you as a 21-year-old? Well, maybe that means that you don't get to go to the club every weekend. Right.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to sacrifice that means that you're going to have an additional $10,000 a year in your pocket for just owning the property. Right. If you're willing to make certain sacrifices, the payout, if you're willing to hold out for those things that are right in front of you, the payout for it is so much bigger in the future. You know, and then you establish a relationship with yourself, with, you know, the responsibility that you have of the stuff that you want, and your life moves in the path that you want it to. Right.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that, bro? When someone just takes full responsibility of their stuff, begins to sacrifice things, and how quickly are we able to get them into their home? Quick, right? Quick. We've had clients who say like, oh, like a client, yo quiero esta casa, but I don't make enough money. And Chris told him, get an Uber, do Uber. For 3 months, this guy did. He probably made more money on Uber than he did on his regular income, right? Thinking about quitting his regular job. But these things that give us the capacity to be nimble so that we can present multiple opportunities to people is what's going to make you guys valuable, and it'll be a resource to the customers.
Just flexibility on top of flexibility.
Yeah. And then with this new generation of buyers, again, it's a component of education, so they don't have to suffer with the same things that our parents, right?
Yeah.
So moving the ball forward just a little bit more and saying like, yeah, we know that you can afford a beautiful town or a beautiful condo downtown overseeing the lake and you want to do that. What about this 4-unit that's going to pay you, and then in a year, if you sacrifice it, you could live in that condo for free? Right.
Leveraging, man.
Leverage, because this asset is going to generate income. And this one, it depends again, right? Like what your intrinsic motivation are. I know some people that have no intention in investing in real estate except for their primary residence.
Right.
Because they don't want to have a fixed asset, right? So for them, their motivation is we have this money and now I get to travel. Now I get to start another business, right? Because I have this asset that's secure. And I think those are the important things about real estate and what it means, how it means something to someone different all the time, right?
So true.
You have investors that have no attachment to the emotional component of it. They're just looking to flip bricks, right? And then you have another component of it that says, you know, I need a place for my family to be safe, and their motivation is the space inside, right?
Yes.
You have someone else who sees the future and says, I'm going to invest in this and then I'm going to buy something later. But the avenues for real estate that are available to you are almost unlimited, right? And one of my favorite quotes that says, actually, it's there's no such thing as a bad loan. It just depends on the interest rate that you want to pay on, right? And if you understand that, then you understand, right, that the flexibility comes in the fact that if you can't prove everything, we can still do a loan, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
But you lose the luxury in a way, right? Like you were mentioning the other time.
Right.
The qualifications are different.
But check this out. So we all know the term cash is king, right? Everyone's heard that, right? Cash is king. And that's true. Cash is king, but credit is power.
Right.
Yeah.
So those two customers that you guys had, if they would have fit more of the qualifications of the box, 2 years employment, you know, good credit, all that stuff, that inheritance that they had, they potentially didn't have to do one property, right? But they could have bought, say, a building for $1 million if they had 140.
Yeah.
Because that's
so
a 10% down payment.
Right.
Right. So you see how cash is power, but credit, it gives you, or cash is king, but credit is power, because that 100,000 now can turn into $1 million property.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what the leverage is behind this business, right? That we have the capacity to use some of the assets that you already have, leverage those opportunities, and extend your reach just a little bit further. Right. So with that being said, I think we're going to wrap up this episode of what does investing mean to you? Angel, why don't you hit us with the hot facts, brother?
Hot facts for this episode, for sure. It's more like what investing or just real estate means to us in a deeper level. Our story is kind of like, you know, the background of it and why we do what we do. And to me, it's more like if anyone is interested in starting or getting started in real estate, you, for the most part, do have like a backstory of why you want to get into it. So, you know, one of the first steps to get started is obviously your consultation, you know, your initial consultation. So to me, it's just, feel free to reach out to us like always, man. So I think that's the first initial step. And then, like I said, you'll tell us your story along the way, and then we'll work with you with your current situation.
Yeah. Blow up our comments. If you have questions, if there's concerns, if there's something you didn't understand, make sure you put it in the comments, right? We're going to answer those questions later. Chris, why don't you tell us what's coming up for the next episode, brother?
What's up, everyone? Make sure to tune in to our next episode where we will be talking about Chicago's cycles. Stay tuned.
Beautiful. Cut.